El Idolo! Andrade, formerly known as Andrade Cien Almas, now known as Andrade El Idolo, is now all elite. As AEW Dynamite, right, this after the fallout of Double or Nothing that drew record low viewership, they need to go back to Wednesday. Like, does this go? Does this count in terms of the whole? It needs to stay above 500,000 because TNT really should probably give some equities on that. Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it wasn't the best show this week. I'll admit to that. Like, there's some good stuff in it, but this was the highlight of it. El Idolo Andrade has signed and turned on the WWE as the tribalists lose their minds. Actually, several tribalists were actually supporting Andrade in his signing. Yeah, I was surprised by that too, because you weren't really tribalists are saying that this is clearly a conspiracy against Vince McMahon because Vince McMahon is a saint and therefore can never do any horrible deeds because that clearly never happened. Uh, Andrade, who left WWE thanks went without a no compete clause and signed and apparently was set to fight Kenny Omega at AAA on August 14th, which is definitely not my birthday, which means I get a free birthday gift. Uh, Andrade was set for some independent Mexican appearances in Mexico wrestling promotions, but he hadn't officially like signed with a company to go ahead and solidify where he's going. And this apparent and reports came out in the subsequent days following that Andrade had begun negotiations with AEW in March, just a little bit after his non-compete, just after his release happened. So, yeah, he was clearly ready to get rid of him. Uh, yeah. And then there was an apparent motivation to get Andrade because he's a hot commodity. Like, he gave WWE their 5-star rating from Dave Meltzer since CM Punk and John Cena did. Yeah, it's telling when it took you like nearly a decade to get another 5-star rating from Dave Meltzer. So clearly that's something. Uh, and then I know it's not the actual facts. Like, I know Charlotte did not like reports that disputed the whole rumor that Charlotte stood up to WWE and threatened to quit and whatnot and walk out. I don't believe that happened. I was waiting to see if that was true when I kept hearing about it, but I do kind of think Charlotte did convince Vince to do it. Like, it's hard to imagine Vince. And there were also these weird rumors that apparently Vince didn't approve of Charlotte and Andrade's relationship because Vince is someone else's freaking daddy. Yeah. I'm concerned about if that. Let's go with the route that was true. I think that would have pissed everyone off if that's actually true. If Vince was somehow so mad that Charlotte has a life and chose to date someone that he doesn't approve of because I'm going to guess his ethnicity because Vince has a clear history of xenophobic behaviors, but that's at least my conspiracy about it. But considering how Asuka's been treated. But yeah, so Andrade left after probably Charlotte helped to convince Vince that can you just let him go, let him be, and just let him do what he wants. And like, as much as the idea of him going to Japan interests me, and as much as I wanted that to happen, I also knew that there was a chance it wasn't going to happen because Andrade is getting married to Charlotte, so he probably doesn't want to leave her on the go across the country and go across the world and stay there for like a couple of years before the wedding. So yeah, and Ring of Honor, I don't know what's been going on over there, but he has some old buddy. Like I said, we could have gotten Andrade with Naito again and Los Ingobernables and just go to town with the insanity that could have came from that. So There were some reports that came out just after the signing that Wrestling Inc. that said Andrade met with Tony Khan the week he was released from WWE with the apparent motivation to sign him then because there was no compete clause to worry about. However, the report claims negotiations initially had hit a snag due to Andrade wanting creative control and veto power on losses. Basically, they were saying, hey, okay, what does Andrade want? Okay, Andrade doesn't want to lose. Define that lose. Like, if we give him a match and we have him lose to, say, Orange Cassidy, he has the power to say, no, we're not doing that. And ultimately, a compromise was reached, affording Andrade a small creative control on finishes. As part of his demands, Andrade also wanted to be able to work for other organizations that aren't WWE. And, like, that kind of comes with it. So, yeah, he signed this deal this past week. But then there was a report from Pro Wrestling PW Insider from Mike Johnson saying that for those who have written us asking about Andrade El Idolo having creative control of how he is used within AEW, we are told that is not the case, and his deal is no different than anyone else's terms in creative, which would be that Tony Khan has the final say in the booking. So after that happened, the Raj, I can't pronounce his name, that's why I haven't tried. Uh, and posted a correction update saying, as I reported over the weekend, Andrade first met with President Tony Khan in Florida this week. He was released the week he was released. Khan was interested in signing, given that he did not have a no compete clause. However, a deal wasn't made. I know that negotiations stalled because Andrade's demands, which include wanting creative control and veto power on losing. Andrade also wanted to work for other companies outside WWE. However, I had incorrectly reported that Andrade's final deal had some limited creative control. We are told that Andrade's deal with AEW does not have any creative control. It was also noted that no one in AEW has creative control in their contracts, as Khan has total control over creative. I fixed our original article and apologize for this error. Well, yeah, that was a scary thing I heard. So before the correction was made, about an hour, so about, let's see, judging by the first comments made, about 10 maybe 12 hours ago, from the 24-hour period that the article was published. So yeah, that did not end well. Okay, let me take a look. About 9 hours ago, yeah. So yeah, the tribalists. So yeah, the people were like like they were going ahead, and everyone was saying Andrade was going to be Hulk Hogan, and do what Hulk Hogan did in WCW and to an extent in WWF, where he said, "No, brother, I'm not losing to Bret Hart." But why? I don't like him. Well, you're gonna do it. Well, thank you. I'm leaving. I'm going to Hollywood. I'll be a star, and you come back, and you'll beg, and I'll go to Hollywood, but I will compete with you, Vince. 2 years later. So after my failed Hollywood career, following me dancing around in a ballerina outfit, can I go to WCW? Okay. So yeah, that clearly ended well. Oh god. And considering what Hulk Hogan did in WCW, I'm like, all due respect to what he did with the NWO, putting it on the map. Like, imagine if Hulk Hogan didn't have that power of authority. I'm pretty sure NWO would have had a much more better ending instead of having no ending and dying a horrible, painful death that killed the entire company. So, yeah, everyone had that concern, especially when you remember Kevin Nash. Scott Hall had some claws that gave them some power in WCW, though none of them compared to you know, Hulk Hogan, what he pulled, or anything that Goldberg pulls from his behind, where he goes ahead and uses the charity card to win against Bray Wyatt. Oh god, that still pisses me off. Anyways, moving on from that conspiracy of what happened in Saudi Arabia, it's just it was so concerning for me. Like I thought, yeah, if that is the case, yeah, it will probably be worth it if he just starts to do some serious damage. Because if he went ahead and booked himself to get the world title within about 3 months, I would have thrashed that company. I would have rant and raved on ranted on to no end on my YouTube channel saying like there's a story in place. Hangman is supposed to get the title next. Like Kenny Omega alleges to that every time when All Out has that he has that Twitter header with the All Out stuff with the three original champions, him, John and Moxley and Jericho. With the next one clearly going to be Hangman. It's clearly going to all roads lead to Hangman and Kenny. So yeah. That was the concern. That was my paranoia a little bit. Like if Andrade really had creative power or veto power in losing, that would have really derailed some things. Like if he's gonna win the AAA title, that's AAA's business, not AEW's business. That AEW just banked on it, and now Kenny Omega's running around like I have the freaking swag. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? So, luckily, this counter reports have come out that disputed that. So, Andrade does not have the power of Hulkamania running wild in WCW, brother. So, get ready for that. Now we can all dream about what could happen with Andrade El Idolo. Well, mostly we can imagine the rubber supply is going to run out completely because you got to remember he's going to fight Rey Fenix because a lot of people want to see Rey Fenix in him and Pac, all these great talents, and like considering he's now signed to a deal, we don't know if this is a multi-year deal because whereas they touted Mark Henry as a multi-year deal, they touted Big Show as a multi-year deal. And they touted several talents that were big names that signed a multi-year deal, like Christian. They did not say anything about Andrade being like he signed to a multi-year contract and whatnot. I think they're waiting, but yeah, he's also going to be Vicky Guerrero's clientele. And I'm just thinking, oh god, I'm pretty sure this is going to lead to Zelina acquiring his services again when she eventually goes to AEW or Impact, because let's be real, I don't see her going back to WWE now after her husband was brutally fired by the management of Nick Khan, and apparently, reportedly, ROH and Impact were interested in signing him. However, but now with the water added to the watering down with the article now making all muddy, yeah. The report states that one-off appearance was almost reached at one point between Impact and Andrade, which would have been kind of cool. ROH was also reportedly interested in Andrade. His close friend Rush is presently the ROH champion, though his deal expires in January this coming next year. So Rush and Andrade could have done some things. That would have been fun. But we'll have to see now where they go with this. Since Andrade signed with AEW, he could theoretically, as part of these partnerships, show up in Japan, show up in Impact, to show up in NWA. I mean, if that's how far the deepness goes with the NWA stuff. So they did let them have their women's title for a while, and Kenny does seem to want to go after the NWA world title. And considering where last currently is with Nick Aldis, since he keeps having DQ losses retaining his belt, yeah, probably we should just like start thinking other directions with Nick Aldis instead of just relying on the cheap finish. So, yeah, let's all clear the worries now. Andrade does not have creative control like the Hulkster. He does not have veto power over losses. He does not have to. He's not gonna pull a John Cena over the Nexus debacle. Okay, so yeah, that was a thing people were worried about. Uh, so I'm excited to see what Andrade brings. Like I am curious to know what he's gonna do with Vicky Guerrero. Oh, will they bring up Eddie Guerrero a little bit, saying that a little bit of Eddie's in him, that he that or something like I'm pretty sure there some people are gonna make that temptation, and then there were people on the internet because tribalists have to make something about this. There were actually some tribalists I saw that actually were pretty awesome, right, with Andrade signing with AEW, and not because of the OMG, he's a traitor, so he's a reject and whatnot, even though that is a completely contradictory BS statement narrative people make up, because WCW rejects clearly didn't become big stars when they went to WWE. Isn't that right, Stone Cold Steve Austin, aka Stunning Steve Austin, aka Hollywood Blondes? Not at all. And that's just one example. So, yeah, I don't care if he was from WW, if he was in WWE last time. If he wants to go to AEW, go ahead. Heck, I actually would be kind of awesome if Stone Cold just showed up on Dynamite all of a sudden, and just to have some interaction with Brian Pillman Jr. Just to get a little fun out of the whole history with him and the Pillman family, since he was buddies with Brian Pillman. Oh, that kind of would be awesome. Even Brian Pillman Jr. is up for that idea if they ever thought of ideas. And MJF got endorsed by Stone Cold, even got water thrown. Oh, good. If that was a video podcast, that would have been hell. That would have been awesome to watch. MJF fight Stone Cold on podcast live. So, yeah. Andrade, good luck, man. You're gonna have a hell of a ride, and now you have a more chance than ever to dethrone Kenny Omega as the AAA Mega Championship. Because let's be real. Let's be real. They're probably thinking, okay, we have Andrade, so if Kenny drops the title, we can build a match to that down the road where Kenny gets it back, and we can do what we want with it and make a show out of it. That's gonna be awesome. Like Kenny and Andrade, I'm hoping they do that down the road. Probably around next year. Probably they'll do it. I don't know. They could do it all out, but they would have to build up Andrade first to get the win records up. But yeah, he wants to be the face of AEW. Yeah, he can make that work, but he has to go through Hangman. He has to go through MJF. Now I am curious as to know, and plus if he becomes world champion, it ruins my prediction guesses, such as Hangman becomes champion, then MJF dethrones Hangman, and then Darby Allin dethrones MJF, or I don't know who would dethrone MJF after that. You could go with Sammy Guevara, but I'm kind of rooting for Darby Allin at this point. But enough about the idea of concepts and whatnot like that for prediction leagues. All I know is that I think it's going to be Hangman, then MJF. So, yeah, good luck to Andrade and AEW, man. This is going to be a wild ride, hopefully, and not a horrible disaster. Oh man, it's probably not. He cut a much better promo than he did in WWE during his mainstream run. And like they apparently were working on his English speaking skills, so at least they putting in the effort instead of Vince like, okay, damn it, I need you to speak English. But I'm not that good at English. Go out there anyways and act like you can speak English. So I think we shouldn't do that. Yeah, we're still on that subject. And even Booker T likes that Andrade joined AEW, which means Booker T made a sensible take and didn't bash the decision that Andrade himself made a personal decision of. Shocking. So, anyways, this was Neo Reality Entertainment, the WrestleVerse, presenting Andrade El Idolo is All Elite, AEW Dynamite 21. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my other content in the description below. Stay tuned for more, and I'll see you all next time. Stay care, everyone, and stay safe.